I, 26 female, have a preschool son with my ex, 30 male. We broke up around 4.5 years ago after he went to prison. A month later, I found out that I was pregnant. He was released a few weeks ago. Earlier today, I ran into him while shopping. We ended up talking for a bit. I had my son with me, and he asked about his name and how old he was. When I told him, he had a weird look on his face but didn't say anything. I didn't think anything of it and continued my day. A few hours later, I got a call from an unknown number. It was my ex asking me directly if my son was his. I told him he was. He wanted to know why I never told him. I said it didn't matter because he was literally in prison for 5 years and my boyfriend had been the one to support me through everything. I could hear him getting increasingly agitated and he demanded that I let him see my son. I told him if he calls beforehand we can work something out. He agreed to it and I thought that was it. I then got a text from a mutual friend asking me if it was true that my ex was my son's father and that I never told him. I said it was true, to which he called me a witch for keeping my ex away from his son. I told him to mind his own business. When my boyfriend got home from work, I told him what happened and he said he would be fine with my ex seeing our son occasionally. We started dating while I was pregnant and he loves our son like his own and is actually in the process of adopting him. I know he doesn't like my ex very much, and if he said no, I wouldn't have agreed to let my ex come by occasionally. Around 2 hours ago, 9 p.m, my ex showed up at our door with a stuffed teddy and some toy cars. He said he was here to see his son and demanded that we let him in. I told him it was already past my son's bedtime and that he should return tomorrow. He ended up trying to push his way in, and when that didn't work, he started yelling that I was a lying witch, that I had no right to keep him away from his son and that he just wanted to see him. My boyfriend tried to de-escalate things, which ended in a fight. My ex then left and I told him to call next time before coming over. My boyfriend doesn't want him to come over anymore and said I shouldn't have told him that he's the father. I do feel kind of bad now because if I'd handled this differently, all this drama could have been avoided. Should I have told him immediately or should I have lied to him? Well, the adoption is off the table unless the ex signs off his rights. You should also retain a lawyer and go to court to get custody and visitation orders. Have everything worked out through the courts. You are the idiot for not telling him, and judges don't like that. A huge can of worms you opened up here. This right here. You lied by omission to the father for 5 years and are trying to act like he should have no rights to his son. You've been lying from the beginning and lied on the birth certificate that you didn't know the father. He has every right to be involved in his son's life, regardless of past mistakes. It's not for you to decide. He was definitely in the wrong for showing up late at night and causing a fight, but put yourself in his shoes. You've denied him the last 5 years of his son's life that he'll never get back. Imagine if the situation was reversed. Oh, I disagree. Everyone's the idiot there. He's been in prison up until a few weeks ago. His poor choices kept him away from his child. He'd likely known about his child from the start if he hadn't been incarcerated. The mother should have told him, there's no denying that, but she was under no obligation to drag her child through prison visits. Dad's first reaction is to resort to violence. He'll be back inside in no time, where he'll no doubt whine about not seeing his son, despite it being entirely his fault. Update: am I the idiot for not telling my ex the truth about my son? Thank you for your comments, but I must clarify some things. My ex is not registered as the father. He went to prison for assaulting someone. I'm not asking for legal advice because I know it won't come to that. Neither of us is the kind of person who runs to a lawyer or the cops at every little issue. We'll probably just have to work out something between the three of us. I don't want to keep my ex from seeing my son. When we broke up, we had a huge fight and I was angry with him. I didn't see him for the entirety of my pregnancy, and afterward I didn't want to tell him while he was in prison. I've known my ex for 15 years and dated him for 8. I know what kind of person he is. He has a few issues, but I know that in his own way he didn't mean any harm by coming over at the time. It's sweet that he got a gift, but I wish he called ahead so we could have agreed on a time. Right now, my son is still too young to really understand what's going on, but I plan on explaining it to him when he gets older. My ex texted me this morning to apologize. He said he was shocked when he found out, and in his head he just had to see him immediately. We agreed that he'd come by this afternoon. My ex always said he didn't want kids, so I didn't expect him to care. He can also be a bit impulsive and doesn't stay interested in new things for too long. Honey, based on your update about your ex, it seems like even more of a reason to get a lawyer. He won't go to court over this. He also has multiple criminal charges, or we'll probably just have to work out something between the three of us. OMG, you are the idiot, OP. You're delusional, and you seriously need a lawyer, doesn't matter if you can afford it or not. You're endangering yourself and your son and your boyfriend. So I let my oldest daughter, Kate, 24, live in my great-grandmother's old home. She recently let her boyfriend, 32, of 9 months, move in. Kate had been coming over once a week and spending hours at our house. She was visiting my wife and fell asleep on our couch twice. I found out her boyfriend and friends have boys' night, and Katie isn't even allowed in the home. My home. The next time Kate was talking to her mom, I made some excuses and went over to the house to let her boyfriend and his bros have it, and reminded him it's not his house and I'll get him an eviction on his credit report and he'll never have anywhere else to have his stupid boys' night. I told him to move out. He's going to, but Katie said I overstepped, and I told her she's not to let anybody kick her out of her own place again, and she's not to move anyone else in without my permission because I would sell the house and put it in my retainment. She's been crying because her boyfriend did break up after this, calling me a psychopath for what I did. I'm just trying to not allow my daughter or my property to be taken advantage of. My missus agrees with me but thinks I could have handled the situation with more finesse. Am I the idiot for kicking my daughter's boyfriend out of my house? Not the idiot, you did your daughter a favour. He's 32. Why is he hanging out with a 24-year-old? Because he could abuse her like he did. Papa Bear was coming. Seriously, you maybe didn't have to pop in there like a cruise missile, but I get it. You're a good father. Once the waters are calmer, have a good talk with her about boundaries and self-respect. Maybe that needs a strong reinforcement in her mind. Finesse is overrated in this scenario. Boys' night, my foot. Any man who wants a boys' night out and kicks the owner's daughter and his girlfriend out of her own home does not deserve finesse. Hopefully your daughter will learn to stand up for herself better. I like your style. Yeah, why does she have to leave? She could go to a different room and not bother them. Making her leave the house so they could party makes it sound more like the guy was or could possibly have been cheating. She dodged a bullet. Be proud you saved her from possible abuse. That also sounds very narcissistic of him. My son introduced us to his ex-girlfriend, who I'll call Heather, 6 years ago. They'd been dating for 4 years and Heather hinted to him about a proposal. However, they broke up when my son got intoxicated and ranted about how much he wanted to break up with her, what he hated about her, and how she wasn't his type. Heather went through his phone and saw messages on how he was planning to break up with her before he went on a trip with friends. He wanted to break up with her for a while but never did. It was his friends who convinced him. Heather broke up with him first and she was a mess. My husband and I love Heather, and after they broke up we were disappointed in our son, but we still love him. We still talk to Heather, she's family to us. She comes to dinner a few times a month and we invite her to holidays and our birthdays. My son got upset at this, but we kept inviting her. My son has started dating a new girl for a few months, and he wants us to meet her for the first time before he leaves for her country to meet her family. He made it clear Heather was not to come. While I would accept that condition, I think it would be best for his new girlfriend to know how my son acted. I told my husband and he blew up on me, saying it wasn't appropriate, no one wants to meet an ex, and if we focus on his past, he will never get into a relationship or give him room to change. However, his girlfriend will meet Heather soon anyway, we invite her to every gathering. Heather also wants to meet my son's girlfriend. My husband told our son and he cancelled the meeting. So, am I the idiot? His girlfriend has the right to know. You are the idiot. OMG, with parents like you, who needs enemies? She needs to know things by your son's mouth, not by his lunatic mother trying to meddle and force his ex onto her. Why are you damaging your son's life like that? You are a cruel person. Your son did nothing wrong. He only didn't know how to break up. Also, Heather invaded his privacy by going through his phone and you're on her side. What the heck, OP? And what did that poor new girlfriend do so wrong for you to be willing to be upfront and rude with her and make her uncomfortable? I hope your son gets away as soon as possible from all of you. You need serious therapy. Move on from Heather, lady. Your son surely did. Boundaries, Mama. Your son is not 5 years old on a play date. He's a young adult navigating his own life. My mom wasn't ready for me to grow up. and with her clinging, she almost lost her relationships with me and with my younger brother. Your husband is wise. Stop meddling in your son's romantic life and stirring up drama. I got my high school hookup, Lily, pregnant a year ago. I'm 18 now. She told me she was on the pill, and like the stupid teen I am, I didn't use protection. I don't know if she lied about being on the pill or if her pregnancy was 0.01%, but Lily and her parents showed up on my doorstep a month and a half later. She was crying happy tears and had a positive pregnancy test in her hands. Her parents were glaring daggers. We had a sit-down conversation with all our parents to talk about what we were going to do. I was adamant that I didn't want to be a dad. I wasn't, still ain't to be honest, ready to be a dad, and I practically begged her to end it. My parents even offered to pay for it, with the expectation that I would pay them back in the future, but Lily refused to end the pregnancy. I said that was fine, but I wouldn't attend the birth or sign any papers. If she wants a baby, that's fine, but I don't. Since Lily gave birth, she's continually asked me for money and to watch the baby. I've refused each time because I never asked to be a dad, and that baby is not my responsibility. I fulfilled my responsibility when my parents offered to pay for a procedure. I didn't meet my son despite Lily's efforts until a week ago. Anyway, I've been accepted into an out-of-state college and will move to my new city very soon. I held a garage sale to get rid of my old junk, with my parents' permission, and made a social media post about it. I guess one of Lily's friends was still following me and told her because Lily showed up at the garage sale with the baby and called me every name in the book because I was abandoning her and the baby by moving away for college. I tried to explain, for what has to be the millionth time, that I don't want to be a dad. She just kept yelling, and eventually my parents asked her to leave the property and threatened to call the cops for trespassing. She then left. The thing is, if I called off my college plans now, my life would pretty much be over. I don't want to stay in the same crappy town for the rest of my life because of a baby I never wanted and isn't even legally mine. Still, my parents are pressuring me to at least try to build a relationship with Lily and the baby when I'm home on break, probably because my older sister is a child-free lesbian and Lily's baby is their only biological grandchild. I don't want to build any relationship because I don't want to be a damn dad. I don't get what's so hard to understand about that, but everyone from my parents to random kids I haven't spoken to in years has been badgering me non-stop to get involved in the baby's life. Am I the idiot? Dude, you're going to be on the hook for child support. Not offering a judgment, just offering the clarification. You don't have a way out of child support unless another dude adopts. Depending on the state, you'll have wages garnished until the child is 18 or 21. It's going to be between 10 and 20% of income and can be changed upwards, and there's no exit. You're in it financially. Is it fair? No comment from me. Did she lie? Well, probably, but that doesn't change anything about the legal situation. Unless DNA says otherwise, OP should stop using quotes around my. He probably needs to stop saying not legally mine until an attorney confirms it. She baby-trapped you. I'm tired of people rug-sweeping how common it is for girls to claim they're on the pill to try and get their happily ever after. RIP to your future paychecks, though. I mean, that's plausible and that's incredibly immature of her, but OP thinks he's not legally on the hook, and that's what I'm getting at. I think everybody's the idiot there. Consult your family's attorney or contact a local legal aid society with your question to find out what the law says in your state. Then go to college, get a degree, and get on with your life. If you want nothing to do with this child, be proactive and do whatever is required to terminate your parental rights. Update. All right, you all can stop telling me that I don't know how the law works. Clearly, I've got the message. I'm going to talk to an attorney and sign away my parental rights. Clearly, my cursory Google wasn't enough. I'm going to college for engineering, not law. Give me a break. I, 58 female, have 2 children. Anna, 26 female, and Logan, 32 male. Both are college graduates and doing well. My husband, who has sadly passed away, and I set up college funds for both of them. Logan used his when he went to college, but Anna got a full ride to a good university, and hers was left untouched. My husband and I agreed to let it be there in case, and that was it. My daughter is currently moving here and has no intention of buying a house. Over the years, she's expressed her desire to do a master's or take some courses, but her life is so hectic and full right now that I don't blame her for not looking at it further. A few years ago, I also expressed my desire to take some baking classes, and she encouraged me to take some of the money for it. She has also said that I can take from it in case I need it or want it, since money isn't a problem to her right now. Logan, on the other case, is very eager to expand his education since this will allow him to grow in his career and job field. However, he can't afford it while living on his own and having his own expenses. Even if he moves back, he won't be able to cut it since he'll have to take fewer hours in order to go. So I said we could use the money since my daughter has, as said before, encouraged me to use it. We just paid his first semester and everything was fine. Anna visited me a few days ago, and she said she was happy for her brother and that if she could help in any way, she was happy to do so since some of her friends had told her masters aren't cheap. I just told her that we were using the fund she left, so everything was fine. She just looked confused and said, "My fund?" And I said, "Yes." She just asked why her fund since it was meant for her, and I said that she'd allowed me to take some of it here and there, so I thought. She said paying for Logan's masters was different, since it meant the fund might be left dry by the time she had to do her own. She left my house in tears, and when Logan found out, he refused the money and said he'd pay back what we took. Now both my kids are sad and I don't get it. My sister said I created a mess. You are the idiot. Baking classes and a master's program are vastly different. She's repeatedly mentioned wanting to do her master's, and her reward for having earned scholarships is that she can use her college fund for said master's. Her brother used his fund for his bachelor's, which unfortunately means if he wanted his master's, he should take out loans in order to do it. She's not planning on using the money for a house, fund money, etc. It was put away for her education, and she plans on using it to further her education. You should have talked to her before offering it up, and I'm glad her brother was sensible enough to understand that she hadn't given permission and wanted it given back to her. She said I could use a few hundred, so I figured taking tens of thousands would be fine. Yeah, good on the brother for immediately refusing it when he found out. Someone with morals in that family. How do you not see the problem you've created, but everyone else, even both the children involved who are on the same page about this, is mind-boggling. If you were my mother, and yes, I know what it's like to lose a parent, I think I would be so angry and hurt I'd cut you out of my life.